When we lived in Pennsylvania, I worked at the Cargill plant there, and one day my wife brought my 5-year-old daughter out to pick me up, and my wife was explaining about these pretty cows, that they were going to be turned into hamburger, and that's what her dad did, and my daughter cried. And what I'm doing, I think I have a responsibility to my family to do well, to do ethically, to do it with integrity, because that's what they expect out of me.
People take animal handling seriously because it's so much in the forefront right now that people know they can't afford to be on a negative video, on a bad article. It affects the quality of the product, so I think it's very widely taken seriously.
You know, we all believe in what we're doing, and we may not always agree, but again, it's the doing the right thing, the right method of handling animals the most humane way.
Well, I went out to my aunt's ranch, and I noticed that when the cattle were put in the squeeze chute for veterinary work, that they sometimes calm down from the pressure. Pressure is calming. And so I got really fascinated by that. So I kind of built this squeezing thing for myself to help calm down my nervous system. In fact, using pressure, I mean, therapists with little kids will do things like get them under roll-up and gym mats, get under things like sofa cushions and beanbag chairs, because that pressure, it calms the nervous system down. You know, this is common with a lot of children with autism. And of course, that got me fascinated in the whole animal handling. In my mind, it's completely visual. My mind works like Google for images. You can put a keyword in, and I start to get images. Everything that I think about. You ask me a question about the plant or how the animal behaves, I start actually seeing pictures of different plants that I've actually been to. Everything I think about is in pictures. Well, people thought it was crazy and originally just getting down in the chutes to see what animals were seeing. But then they saw that it worked. That when I put up the solid side, or I added the light on the entrance, or I got rid of the chain that was hanging down, that the cattle would walk right on in. Then they took me seriously. And I got very good at designing facilities, and my facilities worked. Well, one thing that being autistic did for me is I'm a visual thinker. I think completely visually. Well, that's the way an animal thinks. So when I started out my career in the 70s, I thought, I got to get down in that chute and see what that cattle or the pig is actually seeing. And when I started doing this, people thought I was just crazy getting in the chutes. But I found a whole lot of little things scared the animals. A reflection. It was too dark. They could see a green glove through the fence. And if you get rid of all these little things they're afraid of, like chains hanging down and dripping water, then the animals would walk right through the chutes. Well, there's actually been scientific research on the vision of animals. They used to think that pigs and cattle and horses and all those animals were black and white colorblind. They're actually dichromats, and there's actually been research done where the retina of the eye has been examined, and they see yellowish green and bluish purple really well. They don't see red, but the dichromatic vision, where it's a partial color blindness, makes them more sensitive to harsh contrast of light and dark. Like if there's a shadow on the floor, they're going to notice it more than we would tend to notice it. Pigs and cattle feel fear and they feel pain. Those circuits in the brain have been completely mapped. And if you remove the things that the animals are afraid of, like the reflections, seeing people up ahead or seeing a green glove, they walk right up the chute and they don't know they're going to get slaughtered. I mean, it can be done in a very low-stress manner.
You're looking for a nice smooth runway that all of a sudden has an obstruction in it, a board, a coat, something out of the ordinary, I guess is a good way to put it. And anything out of the ordinary causes an animal to stop and have to double check to make sure it isn't something like a predator that may be in wait for them. So you want everything to be as close to the same color, as close to the same smoothness, texture. Flooring, we see that flooring will cause problems if it's roughened up and then all of a sudden it turns smooth. It'll cause animals to stop and want to check it out to make sure that it's maybe not a cliff or something they should be concerned about. Good treatment of animals, you're going to have less bruises on both cattle and pigs, and bruised meat has to be cut out and thrown out. In pigs, you're going to have less pale, soft, exudative meat, soft, kind of squishy
dried out, yucky kind of meat. And that last 10 minutes in the stunning chute, if pigs are, poked a lot with electric prods and things like that, that will hurt meat quality. So there's meat quality reasons for good handling. Employee safety, handling cattle is another really big thing. Also, it's the right thing to do. These animals feel fear and pain. Cattle bruise extremely easily. You've got a tough hide on the outside, but they're like a soft peach inside. You can have a hide that's perfect with no damage. Inside, you've got a gigantic bruise where they bumped into a gate latch that was sticking out. Or they got them excited coming off a truck and they jammed in the door of the truck.
I've been in situations where you'll see the quality numbers of product come back indicating that you have a problem with handling, and you can track that back. Sometimes you can track it back to a specific group of cattle that came in, maybe had some transport distress or some sort of distress out in the barn, and you can literally track it back to that group. So it's a proven fact.
Cattle can be a big safety problem when they get upset. They can run over people, they can rear up on top of people, kick people, and when 1,300-pound animals get scared and frightened, they get dangerous. So safety is a very important reason for handling large cattle, especially cattle, in a quiet manner. It's very good psychologically for the people. I've noticed real changes in the people's attitudes when we got the electric prodders out of their hands. The people are calmer. They like their jobs better. You're going to have less job turnover. They don't get as tired because they're not constantly fighting with scared, frightened animals.
Those animals could cause serious damage. We deal with 2,200-pound bulls in our plant, and bulls are known for their violent behavior and their quick tempers, and so they can cause a lot of damage. Understanding how animals behave, what causes calm movement and what excites them, can allow you to perform your job in a manner to keep them in the calmest state possible. They're really both part of the same thing, and that's handling animals well promotes worker safety. When people know that the company's interested in their safety, when they know they're interested in the safety of the animals, that's a good company to work for. There's an element of trust involved, and I think those are all signs that the company's acting in good faith. The company's here for the long run, and this is a good company to work for. If I treat animals well, I should expect that my employees are going to be treated well too.
One of the big things to try to train people on is they got to use behavior to control an animal, not force. I mean, cattle and pigs both are very controlled by their vision. So when I go to a plant to try to troubleshoot a problem with handling, I do what I call my lights and cardboard trick. And I get big pieces of cardboard, duct tape, and then I get some lights on portable cords, and we try putting them in different places to change the lighting. I'll cover up places where animals can see through a crack in the fence with duct tape and cardboard, and then I'm just amazed that all of a sudden it works. I remember one plant, they'd put in one of my center track restrainer systems. It was the second plant where we started this equipment up, and a cattle just went absolutely berserk in it. And what had happened was they had changed the design of the piece of equipment. They had changed it. And so I laid a piece of cardboard over the top of the chute, and the cattle just became calm. All that was holding in 1,300-pound cattle was cardboard and duct tape. That's the power of using behavior. I want to teach people how to, use behavior to move an animal. Look for those little distractions. They really matter. That little reflection. Let's say you get a little hole in a window or something in it, and it lets a shaft of sunlight in. That can make your animal stop. Cover it up with get it covered up. Look for the details. Watch what the animal's seeing, and you can get your chute system working so well, your animals are just going to walk up there really, really quietly.
it's a distraction, the cow will stop and look at that distraction, and once it stops, then the cow behind it stops, and the cow behind it stops, and the cow behind it stops. So it's literally a chain reaction.
One of the things I like to tell people is that animals are talking to us all the time. It's just we're not smart enough to listen to them. So if you sit back and you watch the animals, they will tell you where there's areas of concern, and then you have to get in the area, put your mind through the eyes of the animal, and you'll be able to see what they're looking at that concerns them. But you have to be able to listen.
We audit everything. We audit everything from how they come in on the trucks, how they're unloaded, how they're handled in the barns, how they're handled up to stunning, and to ensure that they're insensible after stunning. We go on and we audit things to look at product quality that have direct relationships to animal welfare as well, and we do that daily, weekly. We bring in external auditors to confirm our internal findings.
Right on. With the forks on it.
So by training them the proper methods of doing things, by changing some of the facilities, working on the lighting, some of the changes we could make to help improve the driving of the animals wanted to move, you start to see people that are satisfied with their job, they're happier with their job, We started to see people, the turnover went down, people started staying in their positions because of the fun they were having and the pride. You started to see the pride come out in the animal handlers. They were proud to be able to say, we handle the live animals. So that's very rewarding to me, to see people that are satisfied at their jobs.
We need to keep training people, keep teaching people, and pretty soon we'll be in the second, third, and fourth generation of people that'll learn that, so it becomes second nature.
In my mind, we have to continue to educate our people. We have to continue to be focused on the goals that we need to reach.
Don't be bashful. Don't bite you. Detail. Requirements for handling non-ambulatory livestock. This is such a timely topic. And through the miracle of technology, we hooked up New Zealand. We're talking with Dr. David Babel, director of the...
Or is it something wrong with the facility? And on this slide is a list of the things that can cause you to have a problem with handling, cause you to fix all the little things that cattle were seeing. Or it might just have an employee training issue, like the jamming too many cattle in the crowd. The guys are out there yelling, you know, blowing out through your stun box door, forget it. They're not going to go in. Plant calls me up and says, my cattle or my pigs will not go in the plant. This particular chute right here, it was for pigs, but I've seen the same problem with the cattle. Back up, back up, back up, prod, 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 because they constantly backed up all the time. Well, I had the plant manager, and all the way down like this, because we had to get the pig's eye view of this chute. And while he was down here like this, I was up over there at the top, and I had a stick. And they had these big sodium lights that hung down, and I pushed on the light fixture to swing it to the side. And when I moved that light fixture about 1.5 foot off the center line of this chute, the reflection disappeared. All we had to do to fix this was move about 2 lights, 2 feet. That's all we did. It was that simple.
There's plenty of other places to try to make a competitive difference. And just like this meeting, the benefit of the non-compete is that then you feel free to help other companies, and there's this great collaboration, and we can talk to each other and call each other and have this fantastic network, and you can have a very candid network.
Sometimes it's sending pictures of what works in your plant, or having someone send you a picture of what's not working in their plant, or being available to talk about it over the phone. So I think that's been a tremendous aid to improving the quality of animal care and handling in the plants.
AMI was the driving force. The AMI Animal Welfare Committee was the driving force, because the committee were the people that were talking to each other about what tricks do you use to eliminate prodding scores, what have you found that you've changed that I can use when I go back home.
I have been in this industry for 35 years. And there was a gigantic change in 1999 when McDonald's, Wendy's, and Burger King started auditing meat plants using the American Meat Institute Objective Scoring Guideline. I saw more change than I'd seen in the 25-year career prior to that. I eat meat, and I am a member of the meat industry, but I want to improve and change my industry. In fact, one of the things that frustrates me is there's a lot of bad videos and things out on the internet about the plants. I'd like to show stuff that we're doing right. Most of the industry, I mean, they're treating animal welfare very much like they treat employee safety, how they treat food safety. You know, these are things that they're taking really seriously.
Well, I first met Temple Grandin was here at the first conference 10 years ago, and I hadn't really met her before, and it seemed like she was out there a little ways. And the more I've got to know her, you know, she's a pioneer. She really is. She's a leader within our industry, an icon that, you know, lives and breathes and believes in what she does. And it's been a great influence upon the industry as a whole.
Of course, we learn many lessons from Temple Grandin about this, and trying to not look at it from the height of a, you know, 5'10", 6-foot human. Look at it how a pig sees at the height that they are, what's important to them, temperature changes, lighting, things on the floor, noises, the way that gates move, all of that kind of thing. And so there's a lot more emphasis on facility now too. Flooring is a big one as well.
A lot of the learning, and naturally that it came from my work with Temple Grandin a lot, and she would show me the mindset of the animal. And in school they really didn't teach you how to look at the world through the eyes of an animal, whereas that's something that Temple has taught me.